Hello and welcome to the channel. My name's Ro, and a week has passed, obviously, and tomorrow is gonna be tomorrow's Friday, so we're gonna get the fifth episode of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is a series that I've been enjoying so much. So I need to talk about the fourth episode as I've been doing, talking about every single episode every time they came out because I just need to rant, I need to do it. So I'm gonna be talking about the fourth episode, and of course there's gonna be a spoiler, so just if you haven't seen it, just don't watch this video. So you do remember how in the previous video I said that we cannot trust Simo, even though he's sympathetic and nice and fun to be around and all of that? I meant it. As simple as that. I always call it. I've been calling it throughout the entire series of what was going to happen, and yeah, so I'm pretty content with myself that everything I've seen so far I was right. So yeah. Anyways, the story. This episode made me cry in the first 5 minutes. I don't tend to cry a lot, but fucking god. Fuck. So basically start the episode with Wakanda. We started in Wakanda and how Ayo was helping Bucky just get rid of the Winter Soldier programming, And that was such an emotional scene, and it was so important to see, and the acting on that, I mean, like, Sebastian Stan is a freaking talented actor. And I mean it because I've seen some of his movies and he has made me hate him. And he's just that amazing, Like, I love him a whole bunch, but he makes me hate his characters sometimes, as well as he can make me love them entirely, as I do with Bucky, So that just tells a lot about the kind of actor he is. But the range of emotions he can just put in there, it's just what a sight to see, what a thing. I just love that scene, but because it was just so emotional and it achieved the making me cry thing, which is hard to do. Honestly. So then we go back to where the episode was left in the previous one, the cliffhanger that it was left in. So it was a conversation between Bucky and Ayo, and it was this thing of she's basically scolding him, which he deserves. Fucking god, you do deserve it, because they freaking helped Bucky for 2 years, let me tell you, because he spent 2 fucking years in Wakanda. He learned the language, he lived with them, he was clothed and fed because of them, and they also helped him get rid of the Winter Soldier programming. Like, they did a whole bunch of things for him, and they did it because T'Challa thought that he was a victim and he needed the help. So obviously the Wakandans being angry at Bucky, or at least disappointed that he freed Simo, it makes sense. I'm with them all the way, because yeah, boy, you screwed up, earn it. So anyways, we get this whole bunch of things, and because Ayo trusts Bucky, she gives him 8 hours to hand in Simo, because if he's not gonna be in prison in Germany, then he is going to Wakanda and he's gonna get screwed there, because that's the right thing to do. In this part of the episode, we're pretty much informed through Bucky, which has an iPhone, and you're just kind of like, first episode you had a fucking flip phone, and then having a talk with a chat with a few people on the internet, we're just talking about how he gave his shrink a fucking burner. Like, he doesn't even use that phone, probably. Of course he has an iPhone, because after 6 months he cannot trust his psychiatrist. I mean, like, that's just how bad she is at her job. And I've been calling it. She's bad at her job. And you've got confirmation on the fact that he doesn't even trust her with showing him his real phone. showing her his real form. So yeah, that says a lot, yeah, you know, yeah. Anyways, we're pretty much informed that Kali bombed a building, you know, the casualties and all of that. And, you know, Simo just goes ahead and he's just like, yeah, you're gonna have to kill her unless she kills you, and blah, 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 blah. And, you know, the super soldier serum, the only thing that does is corrupt people. And Bucky is like, yeah, but you're wrong because the serum never corrupted Steve. And I'm just here like, yeah, it didn't corrupt you either. It didn't corrupt Isaiah either. It's not about that, you know, like, Bucky wasn't evil because of the serum. I mean, like, he wasn't a villain because of the serum. He was a villain because, because Hydra fucking brainwashed him. But he's not bad, and Isaiah wasn't either. So you cannot say that the serum corrupts people. And this is a thing Erskine said in the first Captain America movie, is that the serum basically enhances everything that's already in there. So good becomes greater and bad becomes worse. That's what happens, and that's what pretty much was shown in the first Captain America, how Steve becomes even better and the Red Skull becomes bad. Pretty terrible, you know. Obviously, the Red Skull used a serum that wasn't pretty well tested and had a whole bunch of imbalances, so that's why he turned out so fucked up. We know that. But you know, it enhances the bad in people, it enhances the good on good people. So the more you are, which is a very, you know, black and white picture, but seems like it is. So they go ahead with this, and you know, like, and well, Simo throws this thing of, yeah, but there was never another Steve Rogers, was there? And even though there was never another Steve Rogers, I say Bradley was there. He was just hidden from people, you know, because no one wanted to just say, oh no, yeah, you know, there was a black Captain America, because this fucking country seems to be fucking racist. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be. I know it is. But you know how it works. Yeah, I shouldn't be talking about it. I'm gonna leave the social commentary for somebody else. So we go through all of these things, and yeah. And well, then we get the Turkish delight scene. I'm reading Narnia right now, so I couldn't help but be reminded of the White Witch just offering Edmund Turkish delight. And while I was watching that, I was like, no, fucking God, don't eat them. Don't eat them, don't. Because you cannot trust that candy anymore. Just, you cannot. I refuse. Anyway, so they go to this place in which they know that Carl is going to be in, or someone who has information, so they search for information, you know. Sam finds his information on his side, and then Simo is the only one who actually finds information about where Donny Madani's funeral is going to be, so they can find Kali and talk to her in there, because he obviously uses the Turkish delight to basically sing a song to kids and just have information from them. And throughout this scene, I was just like, these kids were never taught that you don't have to accept anything from strangers, not even if they sing a song to you. Like, a stranger cannot be trusted. And like I said, because I said that you cannot trust Simo, what he does is tell the kids, yeah, don't talk, you see those two men are bad, just don't talk to them. Signaling for Bucky and Sam, and you're just like, they are idiots. The only thing they're gonna do is be stupid. They have, but well, basically that doesn't pay off anyhow. And I think it doesn't pay off because then we are presented with this scenario in which maybe Simo is a little bit afraid of Bucky, because yeah. So they go back to the place in which they're staying in, and they are like, yeah, we found nothing, and they just, because they're stupid, because Sam and Bucky are fucking stupid, they just assume that they didn't find anything. They just it never occurred to them just to go like, Simo, did you find something? Because the kids were obviously speaking to you, and like, honestly, kids just tell you things right away. It is impossible for kids not to open their mouths sometimes. So they don't share a brain cell. They don't even have brain cell between the two of them. And if they did, they don't use it. They just know to throw punches. I know, because they're. Sometimes I'm so disappointed of my children. But well, and well, they have this whole scene in which Seymour is basically no wanting to tell them the information on where the funeral is going to be, because it's leverage, and and Bucky basically just throws his little tea, throws Seymour's tea against the wall, and he's just like, do you want to see what somebody can do with leverage? And then Sam goes all like, yeah, calm yourself down. The only thing that he's going to do is get in your head and do that stupid head tilt again. And it was a very funny scene. But then you can see that Simo was like considering, because Bucky is fucking dangerous. Because he has every single little thing to be dangerous. And then you realize that he's pulling his punches all the time, especially in fighting. And that he's deadly. I mean, like, he was deadly even before being the Winter Soldier, but he's even more so now. So I think that Simo is kind of wary of that, but he's also like, there, like, yeah, I can take advantage of this, because of course I knew that there was something left in there, because he said it, there is something left of the Winter Soldier in you. And Simo's gonna take advantage of that. I just know that he's gonna do that, because he's a motherfucker and you cannot trust him. You cannot trust the kind of man that Simo is. He's always 10 steps ahead of you. Always. And he's a quiet thinker. He's not gonna tell you, oh no, I'm gonna do this, so I'm gonna give my plan away. Of course not. And he's playing the nice card, because he knows that he can get something through Bucky and Sam, because he wants to destroy this super soldier serum. So of course it's gonna be using Sam and Bucky for it. So yeah, you cannot trust this man. So as all of this is happening, of course we're getting these moments in they're basically going to the funeral and all, and they just stumble upon John and Lemar. And by stumbling, I mean like John just happens to be there, just messing around, because he has to do everything himself, even just get into a mission that is not his own, with people that don't want to do anything with him, because we don't tolerate you, you fucking bastard. But he's just there, just talking to the boys like, oh, how the hell dare you just do whatever you're doing. And I don't know where he gets the entitlement, but boy. So, well, basically Bucky is fed up with this man, because I'm Bucky in this situation. I'm always Bucky. And well, John basically goes ahead and just tells Bucky, how you're gonna let Sam do this, just get in there with the super soldier, and Bucky's just like, he's dealt with worse. Like, fucking Sam fought with aliens. What is the super soldier gonna do? What is the super soldier gonna do? Besides the fact that Sam faced Bucky when he was a Winter Soldier, and he was lethal back then. So you cannot tell me that Sam is just, oh my god, this poor thing that cannot defend himself. Like, fuck you, fuck you. And now, because of this, Lemar is the one who convinces John that basically just let them go talk to Carly, that there's not going to be a fight. If he can talk her out of these, we can do that. Because, if you can solve things through talking instead of punching, you have a better chance. You do. You have a better chance. So yeah, basically Lemma is the only one who can talk John out of anything. And this is another thing that I want to point out, because that man doesn't listen to anybody, and he's just so entitled that he feels like he's the only one that has the right choice, you know. And you just are like, this is not good, you know. No, you have to listen to other people, because it is a constant thing that has been happening, that he doesn't listen to anyone but Lemar, of course. He's the only one who can talk a little bit of sense in him. But besides that, you're just like that. I know that he's got a lot of weight, you know, and like it's a problem, and he's in a very complicated position. But you have to listen to the people around you. You cannot just go ahead and just be like, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna punch my way into everything just because, I don't know, you have to, or you feel you have to. No. So another one of the things that he has into his personality is that he doesn't know how to listen to others, and he's impatient as hell. And that's bad. That's bad. And in the next scene, you're basically shown how that's bad, basically. So they go to this place and blah 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 blah. Sam goes and talks to Carly, you know, and he's actually doing something great, because first of all, we all know Sam is good talking to people, and if you have this resort first and that you can talk to them, it is better, you know. And he's actually doing a great job talking to Carly. He's making her just be. He's making his point, you know, and he's coming across, and he's basically making Carly trust him somehow, which is good. Which is good. We wanted that. We want Carly to trust Sam, because if he can talk her out of doing all of this shit, it's better. It's better, because you can always find better ways. I mean, we all can. So that was a great idea, until John fucking Walker decided to walk in, because he's an impatient fuck, and he just decided to do this whole thing, this whole monologue that he gave to Bucky, but it's just a huge red flag, you know, because the first thing that he does is like, oh, it's easy for you, right? Just having all that super soldier serum pumping through your veins. And I was like, what's the point of saying that? What's the point? And then you get to understand that he feels helpless. I mean, like, he's under so much pressure, probably a whole bunch of pressure that he put himself under. But this whole thing that he's practically going insane before even having touched anything from the serum, you know. And he goes like that, you know, like, oh yeah, for you it's easy because you're in control, because you have the serum. Or, oh yeah, you have no problem with this because even though they are super soldiers as well, you can fight them. Like that. And it's kind of like, what? I swear to God, that moment, and then the whole thing of making Bucky feel guilty, you know, and letting him through by saying, oh, something bad's gonna happen to Sam, you know, and it's gonna be your fault because you didn't let me in. Like, Sam was talking, and Sam can handle himself. I mean, like, if you go into a place and you don't present a threat, no one has to do anything bad to you. And Carly didn't want to hurt Sam, you know. Of course, John is not seeing everything we're seeing. I understand that. But he was just so impatient because he wanted to take care of everything himself. He wanted to take control of things. And I think that's one of his biggest problems, you know, that John Walker just needs to be a man that's in control of everything, and everything needs to be done the way he does it. And it's wrong, because sometimes your way is not the one that works, pal. No. Anyways, they go in, they do this whole thing, Carly ends up leaving, and yeah, that happens. Because of that, previously he had put cuffs on Simo. Simo obviously got away from those cuffs, and so he intercepts Carly, he shoots her. In between that little fight that they have between them, Kali basically just jumps over a table, and the super serum bottles, little capsules that she had, they basically fall to the floor, and Simu's just like, "Ooh, I'm gonna break this whole thing," and I was so happy that he did. I'm gonna say it because I agree with Simu that nobody should have the power to be a super soldier. So to be honest, I was really happy that Simu did that because yeah, we don't want more super soldiers, especially because they cannot control themselves, and I don't know, it can happen something really bad with that, you know. So it's good, but there was one capsule left before John Walker basically just threw his shield at Simu, and now that fucking capsule is in the hands of this jerk. And that can only call for trouble, you know. And coming from the fact that that only accounts for trouble, because we've seen John's development so far, especially because of how the episode ended, you're just there like, okay, I've been calling this. You know, there are red flags for something. Like, there are things about people's behavior that just tell you. And what happens next in the next scene is basically just everything, you know, is just a build up for bad decisions. So basically John and Lemar just barge into a place in which Simo, Bogey, and Sam are staying, and he's just like, we're gonna take Simo back to prison because he has to be there. And I am okay with that plan because like he should be in prison already, because we're not gonna use him for anything else. Like, but Sam is just like, no, okay, you're just running your mouth in here, and he has been useful and you haven't, so you better shut it, you know. And he's all like, oh yeah, do you want to make this a fight? Because fucking John Walker thinks that he can beat Sam in a fight. ¿Dónde la viste, hermano? ¿Dónde la viste? Anyway, so he goes like, oh yeah, do you want me to leave the shield down so, you know, we make this fair and square? And I was just like, did you fight with aliens? Did you do half of the shit that Sam did? Sam has the training to fucking kick your ass, and you're just running your mouth. It is true, he's just running his mouth. Anyways, before anything can happen, the Dora Milaje come in and just basically this whole bunch of things, you know. And they're like, yeah, we're gonna take Simo to Wakanda because that's where he's gonna stay. We're gonna take justice into our own. I agree, he should be in Wakanda because in that place no one's gonna get him out of prison, and if you need him for information or anything, at least you have him controlled. So yeah, and John Walker goes like, yeah, no, you have no jurisdiction here. Like, you're an American, you're not even in your fucking country, you don't have jurisdiction, you have power, what are you even talking about? And Ayo basically just goes like, yeah, the Dora Milaje have jurisdiction wherever the Dora Milaje find themselves to be. Which, say it, girl, say it. And they go into this whole thing of just like, basically just stupid Walker goes by and just touches her shoulder, like. And I want to tell you one thing, that this thing usually, like, there are different approaches, right? Well, when a person basically comes to you and just wants to put their hands on your shoulder, it's usually a sign, not always of comfort, but of, I am superior to you, you know. And like, you don't touch people you don't know just because you can, like, fuck you. So, well, because of that, they basically start a fight, and the Dora Milaje are basically kicking his ass and Lemar's ass, which they deserve, because they shouldn't even be here. Like, nobody wants you in here. Lemar is a good guy, though, so I'm not gonna say anything about him. Poor thing. But he basically deserves to get his ass kicked. And then we go into this whole scene in which, well, Bucky doesn't want to help. I wouldn't either. And they're just there watching how these idiots fight against the Dora Milaje, who are obviously gonna kick their fucking asses because they're freaking incredible. Like, go, girl, go. And, well, then Sam basically asks Bucky to just barge in because we don't want John dead because we know that the Dora are gonna kill him if they have the chance. And in between well, Bucky basically now is part of the fight. He's fighting against Ayo, and now Sam is also part of the fight. And meanwhile, because they're all a bunch of idiots, what happens? The one man that they were here for, he vanishes. Because Simo always thinks ahead. Simple as that. Well, in between the fight, the Dormilad, well, Ayo basically just disarms Bucky by just dropping his arm, which is a thing that we have seen before, because if I don't remember it wrong, it's been a while since I've watched Black Panther, but Wakandian technology has that kind of thing in which you can disarm it by doing certain movements. That's how Wakandian technology works, so I'm not surprised that that happens. And I'm not surprised that it has a fail switch because I think that every piece of Wakandian technology has a fail switch, especially because it is too advanced and you cannot trust it to people in general, and like I understand both parts, like especially because Bucky made a gesture before that happened, that it was just like it felt like disrespectful. It felt like he was just like, of course Bucky wanted to talk to Ayo, and he was just there like she attacked and he didn't want to attack first, but he also, she already feels disrespected by this. So it's kind of, I can understand both sides because they trusted you for 2 years in the fucking country. They trusted you, they clothed you, they fed you, they helped you get better. And they gave you the arm, which is a weapon. They gave you this arm, which is a freaking weapon. And they gave it to you to obviously fight a war. He didn't even want the arm before. I mean, like, he spent 2 fucking years without an arm. So, yeah, and I understand also Bucky's side because now this arm is a part of him, and it's a part of how he feels free and all of that. So obviously the fact that it has a fail switch, it might make him feel bad in the sense of, fucking God, I feel betrayed because I feel like this is my arm, this is a part of me, and it's wrong that you did this to me. So I can understand both sides, Bucky feeling wronged by them, but he also wronged them. So it's kind of like fair and square at the end, So it is not actually something so good that's happening, but it's just like both of them felt a little betrayed by the other. So that's it. That's it. Those are my thoughts on that scene. Like, Bucky fucking deserved the call to reality, and because he betrayed them, the Wakandians, somehow, freeing Zemo. But it's also like it hits close to home, especially, I don't know, I am very attached to Bucky, but I can also understand when he does a whole bunch of bullshit. And he did a whole bunch of bullshit, but I can understand how he might feel that, oh fucking God, they don't trust me enough to even give me an arm that doesn't have a fail switch. But well, I think that's just Wakandian technology, like they always have a fail switch for everything because you need it. Well, going ahead. Basically, well, they didn't take the arm, so it wasn't a big deal. They just she was just like, yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. But and they almost took the shield though, which I will be alright with them doing that. It will be alright, but they didn't do that. And then we see this whole thing with John happening, that he's just like, they weren't even super soldiers, they were just people, and what? Okay, so John Walker, so far, it is a man who he had power his entire life. He's exactly what Erskine has been talking about all the time. I mean, like that other man that they wanted to pick, that Erskine didn't want to know, have anything to do with, the one who basically mistreated Peggy the first time he met her, and she put him in his place, basically just punching him. That guy is basically what John Walker is. A man who has power, has had power his entire life, and he doesn't know how to respect it because he has never been in that position of feeling little, small, until now. Of course, then we get the whole story in Afghanistan, and how they had to do awful things to get the 3 medals of honor and all of that. And of course, you're in a war and all of that, so of course you've got one PTSD, and then you did horrible things that you're just there like, yeah, this doesn't make me a good person. Because it is obvious that you're gonna feel like that. It is obvious because you do terrible things, you kill people, you harm people that you shouldn't be, and you're just put into an impossible position. So I understand that. But he's still a man that he has had power his entire life. He's not in the position of, I don't know, that minorities have been put. He's not in the position that women have been put throughout history, throughout life, He's a man that has had power his entire life. So he's only seeking more power because he's come to a point in which he has to fight something that's bigger than him. And he doesn't have enough power to do that. He doesn't have enough power to, I don't know, win in a fight against a woman. So he just feels like, yeah, okay, well, super soldier serum is gonna help, and that's not how it works, especially because they don't know how the serum works, and they just go like, yeah, it enhances everything you already are, but if you are having the kind of trouble that John has been having, that's not gonna turn well, because he's been downhill ever since the beginning. I'm not gonna tell you, oh no, he's a bad man, like he's inherently bad, but I think that the pressure he's been through has shown enough that he shouldn't have taken the serum, because he was breaking apart before taking the serum. So the serum basically just enhanced the whole bunch of anxiety and fear and anger that he already had, and this whole bunch of frustration and all that. So the serum basically enhanced all of that throughout his feelings, which is something terrible because it ultimately makes something bad happens, to the point in which, okay, so we go into this whole scene with them fighting with them and all of that, and basically Kali kicks Lemma against a column, and Lemma dies because he's a human, he's not like Bucky that you can punch him as much as you want to and he can resist the hits, and he's not like Walker that now has the super soldier serum. I always say it backwards. Anyways, he doesn't have that. He took the serum so he can resist your punches differently, and he's not like, he's just human, so of course he's going to die, and just Walker loses it, and he acts violently because of that, and he acts violently because he has been acting violently before. He's been down this path, so of course he's doing it, because that's what we've seen so far. Because I said it, he's been going downhill to a point in which he kills a person in broad daylight, even after this guy is on his back with his hands basically covering himself and just please begging, don't hurt me, I didn't do it because he didn't kill him. But John just went ahead and killed this guy, and that was just like, that's what the serum does when you're not stable and when you don't have good intentions. Because like I said before, the road to hell is built on good intentions sometimes. And you can do things thinking that they are the good thing, and you can be hurting people along the way. And that's what John has been doing. I mean, like, and he has been hurting himself in a way. And because of hurting himself in the fucking way, he ended up killing a fucking human being. A human being that, let me tell you one thing, he was fucking innocent. Because the only thing that he did was steal alongside Carly. He didn't bomb the building. He wasn't. They do not want that, you know? Because they made it very, very explicitly. That, okay, yeah, I agree somehow on what you did, you know? But we don't need this. And it just, and of course John doesn't know all of these things, but still he fucking killed a man. And the funniest part of all that he fucking killed a man is that a bunch of people were like, oh yeah, Steve Rogers never did this, and then a whole bunch of others just came around and said, oh no, but Steve Rogers did kill people. I mean, like, oh yeah, he had guns and all of that. And I was like, he was fighting a fucking war. He was fighting a fucking war, not on the streets with civilians around him. Huh? And killing a man that did nothing to him. Because Nico did nothing to him. And you just feel like, he fucking screwed up. Because of course what Carly did was wrong. Carly killed a man. I am in no way defending Carly, because she killed people in the building, and now she killed them all because just, I don't know, she was fighting and she got caught up in it. And it might have been a mistake, but she still killed him, you know. So it is obvious that you're gonna have a bad reaction to that, especially because it's your best friend. I mean, like, Steve also had a bad reaction when Bucky died. But he didn't take it so far, you know. And a whole bunch of people have been also doing this whole thing, you know, of, oh no, but Steve used his shield as a weapon when he was fighting against Iron Man, you know. And Steve never intended to kill Tony. Like, that was not his intention, which is very different to what Tony actually wanted to do. And I'm not saying this from an anti-Tony, because I am a Tony stan. I love Tony Stark, and I'm gonna defend him till the day I die, you know. But on difference to that scene in Civil War in which Tony wanted to kill Bucky, and Cap, the only thing that Steve wanted to do was inhabilitate Tony, just hold him long enough so they could run and Tony wouldn't kill Bucky, just because Tony acted out in anger. Which, let me tell you, I'm gonna give it to you, it's very similar to what Walker did right now. The only difference is that there was someone to stop Tony and just to make him, you know, hold him long enough, but there was no one to stop Walker. And I'm not gonna say, yeah, but you know, like, in the same way that I cannot defend Tony for wanting to kill a man just because something happened in 91, I cannot defend Walker in this moment, because he still killed a man. He was telling you, he was begging you not to kill him, and he did anyways, because the serum already took over him, and because he was already put into this amount of things, you know. And that's the fucking reason why I don't like Walker, because if he didn't have control over himself before, what makes you think that he's gonna have control over himself after taking the serum, when he has the power, you know? He just won't, because that doesn't happen. Because a person who doesn't respect power when they have it, and they think that it's never enough, and that they want to get just more power and more power and more power, they just have lost the entirety of the respect that they could have for that power. They just don't have the respect anymore, so they abuse of their power. And we have seen Walker abusing of his power before. So what makes you think that he's not gonna abuse of his power now? And not only that, but by doing so, he fucking stained the shield, you know. That shield had never, had never been a symbol of a killing like that. And it was just insane, because it just makes you, it just talks to you and what a symbol can become when you give it to the wrong people, you know. And they have been talking about symbols throughout the entirety of the series so far, you know, and how Cap was a symbol that we need more symbols, and that we need the ones that we already had, even thought that they shouldn't be brought back, because I totally believe that the moment still hung the shield, Sam should have just kept it, but given it to no one, because no one can get to the height that Steve Rogers was in. No one can feel in his shoes. I mean, like, you have to bring new symbols in if you want to bring hope to people, because look what happened, you know. How long did Walker have that shield before he stained it? Everything because people wanted to have a symbol that reminded them of greatness. Steve Rogers, throughout the entirety of their movies, Steve never represented America or anything. He didn't represent the government. He didn't represent most of the things. It's because he represented a goodness that there was in the people. He represented the people that came from nothing, you know. And so many people can, you know, he represented basically the little guy, the people who have a hard time going on. He defended the people. And now you've got this guy that just used this symbol that was a symbol that used to mean that you were protected, to kill someone. So yeah, it's pretty hard. And I don't know what they're gonna do to basically just solve that thing. Because now what? They get the shield back, and what? How do they clean it? I mean, and I don't mean the blood, but I mean the meaning that the shield had behind. Because now Sam has to carry with what that means, you know, and what being a good person and showing that a good person should have this shield. And it's even far more weight on his shoulders than he already had, because now he has to clean the mistakes of some of the one who came before him. And I'm just, God, no. Sam shouldn't be doing that, you know. And it's not even because of his decision, because he decided to give the shield to a museum so it wouldn't be used ever again, not to be given to another to one jerk outside, you know. That's not what Sam intended. So then you're just like, what the fuck. So now, to break this whole thing in, I haven't seen the trailers because I didn't watch the first trailer, and I'm not gonna watch the mid-season trailer because after that cliffhanger I don't need it. But what I can tell, what I at least think that's gonna happen, is that one, Carly is maybe gonna get into her mind and just be like, yeah, okay, I went too far. I'm gonna listen to Sam because Sam was right. So maybe we're gonna get there. Maybe we won't. Maybe she will still just take the loss of Nico, just as one reason more for why they need to keep on this cause. So there could be two options in there. I know that they're gonna get the shield eventually. I'm hoping for it because I don't want that shield in Walker's hands, and I hope they beat him up properly, and I hope he goes to prison, because after killing a man in broad daylight, a man who actually did nothing but a fight, you know, and I don't know what to expect actually, and I don't actually want to go into with expectations. I just want to see what they portray, but I have a few ideas of what could happen, you know, and I have a few ideas on how will they play it, you know, with this whole thing of, I don't know, the media and the government and all of this just always wanting to fucking excuse crimes by saying, oh no, he did the right thing because he was a terrorist, or because this and that and that. So I don't know what to think about, but there could be a whole bunch of things. And tomorrow we're gonna see the new episode. So I'm just hoping, just to get a lot more of insight after that. And after that episode, of course, I'm gonna be recording what I thought about it, because there's gonna be a whole lot of stuff to talk about. But seriously, this episode so far, it was an incredible episode. It was greatly filmed. The story, I really like how they're telling the story, because they are developing their characters at their own time, and in their own way. Especially, I don't know, the development of Sam and the development of Bucky, like you can see them. They are quiet developments, but the development is there. You can see their personalities and how they behave and how they take everything in. So yeah, it is there, and I'm just eager to see what's happening in tomorrow's episode. So that's the thing. Anyways, that has been it. It has been long, so if you made it to this point, wow, you have patience. Congratulations. It's incredible. You should be proud of yourself, because I talk too much. I can't believe that you actually listened through this whole thing. You should get a medal for that, because they should actually give medals to people who listen to me talk, because I'm annoying. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, leave a comment, just tell me what your thoughts were, and always remember to be positive, kind, and curious. That's my cue to leave, so goodbye.